Alright, imagine this. You're driving down a quiet country road. Nothing but green hills around you. Suddenly, two cars fly past at suicidal speeds, swerving, tailgating, playing a twisted game of one-upmanship. And in 30 seconds flat, a man is dead, a kid's fighting for his life, and two so-called professionals have shattered not one, but two families forever. That's not a movie scene. That's what happened when these two brothers decided to turn a routine drive into a real-life Fast and Furious knockoff. Let's unpack this tragedy, why it's way more than a bad driving story, and what it reveals about the terrifying fragility of life. First off, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why? These guys weren't teenagers hotboxing a beater car. They were locum optometrists in their 30s, grown adults with careers, education, and presumably the brainpower to know that racing on a public road isn't a game. But no, Abubakr and Umar ben Yusaf treated the A483 like their personal Nürburgring. Abubakr doing the James Bond stunt of the year by drifting headfirst into a family car, killing Rhys Jenkins instantly. Umar, right behind him, playing passenger in the apocalypse, while still managing to contribute to the carnage. What's the psychology here? Is it arrogance? Boredom? A toxic dose of both? Personally, I think this screams a disturbing entitlement, the kind where you start believing the rules don't apply to you because you've never faced consequences before. Now let's dissect the sentences. 14 years for Abubakr, 2.75 years for Umar. On paper, it sounds logical. The guy who pulled the trigger got the heavier punishment. But here's the gut punch. Rhys Jenkins was literally doing everything right. Safe speed. Seatbelt on. No phone. He wasn't a statistic. He was a target in a game he didn't know he was playing. And the judge nailed it when he said they were riding their luck. That's the thing about luck. It runs out. And when it does, it doesn't care if you're a doctor, a dad, or a kid with a broken arm screaming for his mom. What many people don't realize is that these sentences aren't about punishment. They're about assigning meaning to chaos. Can 14 years in prison ever balance a father's absence at his son's soccer games? No. But it's society's way of screaming, this was not okay. Then there's the Jenkins family. Let me tell you, reading Ioan's statement, that's the part that haunts you. A 9-year-old kid, trapped in a mangled car, watching his dad die, and then spending his recovery wishing for something so basic. I want my dad to watch me grow up. Meanwhile, Gruff, the 6-year-old, bolts out of the house in the middle of the night after hearing the news, lost and screaming. This isn't just a car crash. It's generational trauma in a body bag. And let's not forget Carrie, the mom. She's left picking up shattered bones and shattered lives, wondering if an extra hug that morning could have changed fate. That's the cruelty of sudden loss. You obsess over the tiniest what-ifs, because the reality is too heavy to hold. But here's the angle nobody's talking about. This was a crime of collaboration. Umar's car didn't hit them, but his presence, his complicity in the race, created the conditions for disaster. We're obsessed with blaming the main perpetrator. But where was Umar's moral compass? Why didn't he just say, "Bro, slow down"? This isn't about splitting blame. It's about recognizing that enabling recklessness makes you culpable. And the legal system's handling of that? Fascinating. They punish the spark and the fuel differently, which raises a bigger question. Should we criminalize not just actions, but the decisions that create risk cultures? Because let's be real, these two weren't strangers to speeding. This was a pattern, not a one-off lapse. Finally, let's zoom out. This crash wasn't caused by a mechanical failure or a rogue meteor. It was 100% human choice. Two men chose adrenaline over empathy, ego over ethics, and now an entire family's DNA is altered forever. And maybe that's the real horror here. Not the crash itself, but how easily any of us could be one impulsive decision away from destroying lives. We all speed. We all get distracted. But what separates a close call from a catastrophe? A split second. A hairpin turn. A heartbeat. So next time you're tempted to race your friend down a highway, remember Rhys Jenkins. Remember Ioan's fractured ribs. And ask yourself, is your need for speed worth becoming someone else's nightmare? What's your take? Was this justice served? Or does our legal system need to rethink how it handles preventable tragedies? Drop your thoughts below, let's discuss.